Troy Doudle, welcome to the Business Advisory Show. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, John. How are you?
I'm brand new after a 48-hour immersion. Actually, I'm a little worn out, but we won't go there. So, mate, thanks for coming along. And I know that you're not one to show pony, so it was our request to get you to bring all of these amazing accolades that your firm and yourself have picked up over a 2-year journey, because the awards night was for 2 years last night. We might just get into these first and then get to business and asking about Troy a bit later on and his view on the world. So the first thing we've got here is the 2019 State Award for South Australia, Accounting Firm of the Year. And there's a national award here which goes back to the year prior to that. So there's an enormous amount of change management and continuous improvement. This is the 2018 National Firm of the Year for Australia-wide for Troy and his team and the firm as well. Tell us about the last 2 years and what have you been up to? Because clearly these they don't come out very often, particularly the coveted National Award. What's going on in your firm and what are you proud of in terms of the business you run?
Well, our firm has been no different to any other firm, across the country. We're all going through massive change, but where we've identified we need a big room for improvement was through efficiency, investing in team and talent. We were too top heavy from 2015 onwards in terms of too much reliance on the senior partners and the stakeholders. So the biggest change that I made over that journey and before being aligned to your program, which allowed us to be elevated even further, was the simple fact that we just needed to make change on how we're doing things, how we're processing things. So to become more efficient, we had to devise a system and a process, and we needed to then work on discipline in areas of our business, and we had to get rid of dead wood. So we've done all of that. So then what we did is we went back to the base, and then we had a system and a process to work on, and that then enabled us to get through much greater efficiency, created more capacity, and whilst our firm hasn't grown over the last 3 years, what it's enabled us to do is to do more work, more efficiently, more quicker, and more accurately. So, in June 15 we had 13.2 full-time equivalents. June 17 we'd reduced that to 5.2, and both of those periods I was to 0.2. So what I recognised, and through your assistance, what was crucial for our business was to run our accounting practice as a business, not as an accounting practice. And I see that there's too many, in my view, there's lots and lots of firms that do that. They run as accounting practice, are reactory towards their clients' needs, not as a business. So one thing I did learn was if I ran it as a business, I'd elevate myself, I'd be focused on what worked and what didn't. And it's a long-winded answer to your question, but by implementing those changes, that's enabled us to progress and develop to where we are today.
Yeah, thanks. That was a great answer, actually, and I think that one thing I'm hoping you're willing to comment on is, my personal view, is that too many accountants give up quite early on in their trial and error of improving efficiencies and taking on new cloud-based technology. What would you say about that?
Oh, that's true, and the people like Cameron Lynch we learned from a couple of years ago, be careful with software. There's so much software that's out there. I think you need to be diligent and do your own due diligence on what sort of systems and cloud-based stuff's there. We went through a radical change from being on Handysoft for 25 years to migrating to Xero. Xero's own recommendation was that was a 6-month period. We did that in 3 weeks. So that just made a massive change to us, not only in terms of cost of Handysoft versus Xero, but just the efficiencies of pushing everything through from client data right through to the end product. So, and now, we're not at the business advisory scale that we need to be, but we've got our house in order, our systems and our process are ready to go. So, we're now in a position to bolt on the business advisory software that's going to meet our needs. And as we know, and as we discussed yesterday, there's lots and lots of software out there, but we've got to find and road test what's going to be the best one for us. And we've got to have a back-end to front-end system that's going to allow us to use reliable data to push it out. So, certainly, changing the software has made things a lot more efficient for us, and it suits from what we're starting with to where we are now.
Yeah, thank you. Now, I'm going to ask you about your take on these other two pieces here. These are the awards, of course, we've just looked at, and now you've also got the progressive recognition, and that is the 5 stages to mastering a business, the foundation stage and then the elevation. You and only a small number of firms in Australia were awarded the status of rolling out all of the intellectual property in your region for small business. Yep. Another one in Rockhampton, you of course in Port Lincoln, Albury I think. Now, tell us about how this impacts on running a business more effectively as a business owner. The first one, of course, is your recognition of having graduated from the foundation stage. Now, the mantra that best practice uses to interpret or assess that is that 80% of the work that your business does, or that you once might have done, is now done by somebody else or the team, dare I say, 100% of the time. How can you comment in your own experience in terms of, does that work for you, and is that something that a small business owner should be aspiring to achieve as a mantra of how they've structured their business?
Definitely. Well, as you know, I started the program in August 2017, and it certainly wasn't initially a model attendee. I wanted the meats and the veggies and everything at the end of the day, and you quite rightfully clipped me a few times and brought me back on track. But to answer your question, the model and the stuff that we learn along the way is not, respectfully, is not rocket science, but they're very important principles that we need to adopt. So unless you're prepared to be disciplined and keep following those simple processes and make the changes in your business daily lives and habits, well then, as a business owner, if we're not prepared to follow that mantra and believe in it, not question it, implement it, and you'll start to see the benefits that come out of it, those changes will not only help your business, you then truly believe in mentoring and pushing that and offering that opportunity to our business clients. So, as we saw at the conference yesterday, the guys in Toowoomba, the changes they've made over a 20-year period. I'm fortunate to have my business clients in attendance that day, yesterday, and all they kept raving about last night was, that can be us. I can believe in this. And Troy, you've been telling me this for the last 4 months. So, so to be an early adopter and understand and believe in that, they can see it. So, the biggest takeout for me yesterday was change. As a business owner, nobody likes change. So as a business owner, we don't like change either. But the minute we've decided to change, then there's a secondary change process, because you've got to go and implement change amongst your team. So, so that's got its challenges as well. So just because we said, right, we're changing, we're doing this, you've got to remember and respect that the people you're requesting to change as well have got to have the ability and want to change as well. So I think we've done that pretty well in the last few years. So the benefit to our business clients and broader clients in the community, and those people, by the way, that came here yesterday were a direct how they come to be access to clients of us was through the SME program. So no accountants, or there's not too many other accounting firms out there that can introduce small business to business mastery than going through the program. And it's not a university degree, it's not taking up huge amounts of your time, but just some of the basic principles and initiatives can change people's lives without being too disruptive. So again, those that want it, you have to take it up and you have to make it work. Otherwise, you're wasting time.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you. Now, this one, of course, is far more challenging, and this is the Elevation Award. And when we draw a pyramid and the 3 hierarchical structures of leadership, management and employees, or finders, minders, grinders.
Yep.
This is the minder level, and to achieve this, and having created a leadership transition and a leadership change in the way you run the business, what would you say to other business owners, not just accountants, around the reality of continuing to grow as a leader as you get older, and rather than bury the hatchet and say, oh no, look, my days of continuing to become a better leader are numbered, and stereotyping yourself,
Yep.
To having certain limitations. How have you grown to achieve this particular recognition?
Well, I think I've grown immensely in a number of areas. But to answer your question, when we joined the program in 2017, we were sort of culturally aligned to your concepts in some degrees. But I think to be the top of that pyramid, whether it be the 4 or the 16 section of it, you've got to be elevated enough in your business. You've got to understand how your business works and what doesn't work. And in that 4%, if we're just bogged down like I was 10 years ago doing client work, nobody else knew the client, no one else knew the business. But if you can elevate yourself and you're in that 4% where someone comes to you, Troy, can you work out this complex capital gains tax issue or distribution or whatever, I'm freed up and I'm available to do it. And it's not only, as you've seen in my business, I'm not only the only one in the 4%, Brad's in the 4%, and then under that, Jake's got his own pyramid going where he's going to be elevated into that position as well. So if you've got the foundation, and we've always worked on those 7 principles of building the foundation, if you've got them right, then you're in a position to elevate yourself at the top of the business. And probably the only good thing about getting older is you've got experiences, so you've got to learn from those experiences, and then you've got to push and share those things down. So you push the knowledge and the mindset down to your team members, and you upskill your team members from there. So if you want, it depends on where you want to be. If you want to be comfortable in the growth of your business, then you can have that. The business owner can have that true work-life balance. If they want to grow the business, well, then you've got those pyramids that are growing exponentially. So, but you've got to have the mindset right. You've got to believe in what you're doing, and you've got to be really disciplined to make sure that as a leader you follow it, and then that just becomes infectious amongst the team.
Yeah, thank you very much. Your parting piece of advice, if you like, before we wrap up today, what's the things that pop into your head when you're thinking about maybe a naive business owner and they're not necessarily running a great business? What would be the first, in the first 5 minutes of talking to them, initially, might you say in terms of some interest creating or advisory type commentary?
If it was either an existing SME client or it was a new prospect, I think, and thankfully the skill sets you've shown me over the last few years is that you've got to have an ability to listen, and B, you've got to have some tools in your kit to say, look, this is what we need to do. So rather than roll out the traditional financial accounts and the balance sheet and all those sort of things, it's whether it be a coffee meeting or whatever, if you sit down and listen to them and get them to open up, what are the 5 main concerns in their life and business, well then that's going to be a rap sheet for you to go, these are the main priorities. And then if you work through them from there to go, what do you want me to work with? What other things? And it can be from mental health, as we learnt yesterday. It can be all sorts of things. So, the message I got from my clients last night, why are you investing in me? And I said, well, 1, I believe in you and I want to make you a success story. And, if you want to follow the journey and be successful like I've been, then I'll invest my time in you. And B, because I've got a business that I have designed and built to be where it is today, allows me to work with you personally and make this thing happen for you. So they've got on a plane this morning, gone back, going, she's already rang me today and going, you know what, I'm really excited. I can't wait for this journey. So not sure if I've avoided the question or not, but that's primarily how I would look at it. And you've also got to remember too that whether they're co-accounting members or they're SME members, a lot of people can look and say, it's easy for you because you've got to where you are. And I'm a long way, as you know my business as well as I do. I'm a long way from getting to the top of the tree, but you've got to invest and you've got to believe, and you just got to be disciplined. So if you truly want to change, and change was the big word from yesterday, if you're prepared to do those things, you can climb fairly rapidly. Sure, there's problems, there's bottlenecks, there's all sorts of things, but if you want to truly get there, you'll get there.
Yeah. And I think what I'm hearing you also say there is that if you invest to get your structure right as a business owner, and you get the scale or capacity through the team, it frees you up to actually spend more time with an advisor such as yourself to learn what's next for that business.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And the key to it is one of the most important elements of it is to invest in your team. If you've got to have the right, as you know, with our system, it's process, systems, and discipline. Those three things. So if you're structured right, you can afford to invest in talent. And we've got a 40% failure rate with our graduates we have in our firm. But the expectations are not through the ceiling, but what it is there's an acceptable level that's endorsed by our team, not just driven by me. So ultimately, the last failure we had at the end of last year, that decision was made by a team, not by me. So so that's a really that's a really rewarding position to be in, rather than them looking at me all the time going, we've got someone here who's not going to make it. What are we going to do? So. And 10 years ago, that would just be looking at me saying, you've got to make the hard call. Because when we pass the baton to someone else in our team, when we're passing it is as if I've done the work or I'm about to do the work. So that's all around great culture, good people. They get rewarded, they get paid well, they've got a good work-life balance, 9-day fortnight, so on and so on and so on. So it's not just about us as we progress and become more successful. It's not about us reaping the rewards as a stakeholder and business owner. It's making sure that everybody's happy and they want to come to work. We have really low sick days. We don't have them. So it's a good place to come to work. So and that's not something that's happened overnight. I've had to look in the mirror long and hard September 2015 and say, you're a crap business owner. You want to be an accountant or you want to be a business owner? So that was a turning point for me. And then since the association I've had with you, we've just grown and grown from there. So yeah.
Thanks, Troy. And that's some amazing advice for other accountants out there that want to get their act together, but I think also for business owners as well. Thanks, Troy, so much today for coming on the Business Advisory Show. Well done.
Thank you.
Great job.